Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports show brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. I'm Aaron Bruski, joined as always by the great Indiana Hoosier slang and Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. Today's show, we're going to be hitting top ads, players in the drop zone, and best streamers. Probably get a story from Doc about how are things going in Miami, sir? Who's your top ad?
Dude, the fact that I'm here on this podcast is a minor miracle. The Indiana Hoosiers got it done last night. Incredible game. Like, seriously, it's hard to even put into words. Everyone cried. People were jumping in the pool at 3 a.m. There may have been, like, no one went to jail.
There may have been blank. Don't even get an answer from you. There may have been insert whatever you think that could happen there.
There was chaos. It was chaos, and it was incredible.
But you're spry. Look at you.
The Indiana Hoosiers win last night will go down as the biggest Cinderella story in the history of sports.
Ooh, that is a vast compliment. I did not watch the game. What happened? Did Indiana win?
Yeah, barely. It was so good. Oh, okay. My top ad.
Let's hear it.
I got to refocus, bro. I got to get in basketball mode. I didn't see a lot of hoops last night, Brew. That may
What did you see last night, other than your top ad?
I saw a lot of football. I'm going to go with a guy that you have often touted here, and I kind of slided him when Jalen Williams came back. But our guy, AJ Mitchell, has there been a more consistent, streamy, pick-uppy, late draft pick guy than AJ Mitchell? I mean, he just keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny. The stats are just so consistent until his last game. I mean, he had scored in double digits in like 20 straight games. And even though he only had 5 points on Monday against Cleveland, he still had a steal and 9 dimes. So it's pretty good. Pretty fun stuff with AJ Mitchell. He's just been there all year. So I think I'm no longer thinking Jalen Williams is going to ruin AJ Mitchell. It could be that AJ Mitchell's ruining Jalen Williams.
Well, Jalen Williams, his body is doing a good enough job of ruining Jalen Williams. First, the wrist injury, which I should have been a whole lot more aggressive on. I'm just kicking myself because he should have been a do not draft kind of a player at the cost he was going at, third round. Generally speaking, sometimes in the late second round, I know better. That wrist injury had disaster written all over it. He's talked about how hard it's been to recover from that. And now a hamstring injury, probably multiple weeks by the looks of things. And AJ Mitchell just calm and steady the entire season, regardless of what's going on around him. He's just been producing. And, you know, when you add up all the games he's played, he's a mid-round guy. And it's just felt like he has dodged bullets the entire time. Okay, I'm going to try to go slow here, folks, because I'm pretty freaking excited about this one. It's Moussa Cisse. Moussa Cisse, to me, has the look of a league winner. He has the look of a player that I don't know if we've seen so many of these kinds of players before. He is big and he is fast and he can jump. And instinctually, while there's a lot of elements of his game that are raw, especially on the offensive side, defensively, it just feels like he's got that instinct. And we're going to be hearing a lot about this guy. Yes, there's a two-way contract issue. Yes, he's played most of his games that he can play this season on the two-way deal. No, the Dallas Mavericks don't have a roster spot for him right now, but I kind of have a feeling they're going to figure this thing out. And Anthony Davis being traded. Daniel Gafford's name's been brought up in trades, though I don't know if that can actually happen or not. Maybe they just waived Dwight Powell at some point, and it really doesn't matter because Moussa Cisse is that dude. And in this last game, 15 points, 9 boards, 1 steal, 4 blocks after getting the monster recommendation in yesterday's FantasyPass waiver wire article that I wrote. Doc, we raced to get him in 30 deep a long time ago.
Dude, we did that on the air. We were in the middle of the podcast, and suddenly a light bulb went off in both of our heads at the exact same time.
Yeah, I know how that light bulb came to be, by the way. And I'm
we
kicking myself the entire time for how that light bulb came to be.
You
But
said it, and I was like, "Oh shit! I need to go get him in 30 deep."
and I felt like my injuries and my illnesses with the TOS held me back, and I'm gonna make a bunch of excuses about I couldn't click fast enough. And I clicked, and I thought I had him, but then I didn't because Doc had him first. And it is, numerically, I did a deep dive. Like I spent 4 hours, Doc, preparing for the high stakes fab runs. I got 11 teams in high stakes leagues, and I got Musa Cisse in 9 of 11 teams yesterday. But I was doing the deep dive, like, what's this, what's that, what's the value? And the big deal is that he can't hit a free throw to save his life, and he's going to shoot a ton of them. If that doesn't matter to you for whatever reason, you are just absolutely swimming in probable early round value. For those of you who don't care about free throw percentage, and for those of you who do, he shot 8 of them last night. He did get over the 50% mark, which has been his mark since college and also this season. But holy moly, I'm going to talk about Musa Cisse like 3 times, 10 times today, and probably 10 times this week, and probably 100 times for the rest of the season. Musa Cisse, run, don't walk. This is not a time to be patient. You just go and get Musa Cisse. And I talked about him for too long.
Did you say you got him in 9 of 11 leagues?
9 of 11 leagues, and I'm kicking myself for the other 2. And there were those teams I didn't have the space or need. It's just I should have just done it anyway, but I didn't.
Stat line you read, the 4 blocks and the points and the minutes, and like it's good.
And the thing about it is, like, when I saw him early in the season, I said, man, that guy's athletic. And I just, it kind of just didn't register because Anthony Davis and, Dan Gafford and that other guy who plays for the Dallas Mavericks who doesn't really play that much anymore.
Dwight Powell.
Yeah, no, that's not Dwight Powell. It's a 7-footer with a lot of hair. It'll come to us. Because I'm so freaking excited about Musa Cisse. I cannot say enough. Run, don't walk.
Run, don't walk.
And when you watch him on film, it's going to be something of an experience because of his size. Like, strength-wise, people will not be able to bump him off of his line. Vertically, with the elevation, he's going to get up to a high point with anybody in the league. And again, with the hips and instinctually being able to slide and cover even point guards, it looks like Dallas has every reason to keep him on the floor and have a focus on this, because they might have found something here, and nobody else on the team can do what he does from a defensive standpoint. All right, Doc.
Are you done?
I think I'm done.
We just spent half of our allotted time on Musa Cisse because you love him that much.
I can't stop. Stop it.
I am going to go to Io DeSumo. I talk about him every show. He scored in double figures, 16 of his last 17 games. In January, he's averaging 17 points, 5 assists, 3 boards, over a steal, 2.4 triples. Brute, Io DeSumo in January is shooting 57% from the field. That is spectacular for a guard. And yes, Josh Giddey is coming back, but do we care? I'm not that worried about Josh Giddey coming back and ruining Io. I think Io has just become a fixture in that lineup.
Yeah, I'm right with you. He's the safest play amongst the bunch, and I kind of think he's got a future adding defensive stats somewhere down the line. Maybe not this season, maybe not for Billy Donovan, but that efficiency is just succulent, and he is going to be a late round guy the rest of the way and have some upside beyond that. I will take us from Musa Cisse, who's like extraordinarily exciting, to Reed Sheppard, who's boring the crap out of everybody, and people want to drop Reed Sheppard, but he's been a mid-round guy on the season. You can't drop Reed Sheppard. If you see Reed Sheppard pop up in your waiver wire, you'd have to be in a pretty shallow league to not want to pick him up. Top 200 play over the last couple of weeks, and it's been on the heels of a sub 40% field goal shooting stretch here. What I think it is I think if he's not making his shots, Ime Udoka doesn't want to give him the 24, 25, 26 minutes that he's been getting for most of the season, but top 80 to 100 on a per game basis on the season, including this down streak here. So I think you got to go with the numbers here. There's not exactly anybody that's going to take his 20 minutes per game. They're not going to bench Reed Sheppard. He's in the dip. You buy the dip and we move on. Doc, who do you got next?
I got me some Najee Marshall. I love Najee Marshall, dude. You look at Dallas's depth chart, and like Najee Marshall is the only guy that I really trust out of the whole thing. And we joked about how Dallas's entire lineup is all streamable. They're all pickups. They're all like it's just a hodgepodge of guys. But Najee Marshall, man, 17 points a game, 4.5 boards, 4 assists, 1.3 steals, a 3-pointer, 55% from the floor. Sucks at free throw shooting, 69%. But whatever. Brew, would you rather have Reed Shepherd or Najee Marshall if you see both of them sitting on the wire?
I'd rather have Reed Shepherd just because of the stat set.
Come on, man.
It's the stat set. Reed Shepherd's up there in the 4 cash counters per game realm.
No.
Najee Marshall's probably what, half that, maybe 40 to 60% of that. So yeah, no, it's just that. It's just that. Najee Marshall's got leadership of this team. I think he's going to guide the tank. He'll be the tank commander. He'll be a top 75 guy the rest of the way. But if Reed Shepherd gets like the 28th minute or something, and they actually start giving him the ball because something actually clicks, and they actually want to do that, he's got another gear. He'd be a top 50 guy. So I'll take the low and slow stats of Reed Shepherd, and you can take the glory with Najee Marshall. I got a better one for you, Doc. I'll take Jalen Tyson. Jalen Tyson had something like 30 plus points the other day in a career high effort after being left for dead in high stakes leagues everywhere. It was kind of crazy to see the lack of patience out of that bunch because he's been a top 80 guy all season long. He's done it in about 27 minutes per game. So what happens if Jalen Tyson is the last man standing in Cleveland? He's also one of the better players that they have on the rosters. All of a sudden, they don't have that much depth. He could easily be going top 60, top 70 down the stretch if they just open it up because there's a couple injuries and they need Jalen Tyson to play those 30 minutes. So I see no reason whatsoever not to add Jalen Tyson. It would be another run, don't walk if you're in a 125, 150, 175 player league because it's just getting handed to you on a silver platter. Doc, who do you got next?
Dude, how many points did he have in that game? I watched it. Was it 39?
It's 30. Yeah, it's a high 30s, I think. 38, 39?
38 or 39, man. And what a game that was. Like, I kind of love Jalen Tyson. That's a great call. I'm going to go to Trey Johnson. I feel like this is one of your guys. Trey Johnson has scored in double digits in all but 2 of his January games. And ironically, the Wizards have won 2 games in January. God, they're terrible. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 losses in a row for the Tankers. Trey is at 13 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 1.2 steals, and 2 threes a game. Great free throw shooter. Field goal percentage is okay. I think Trey Johnson is going to be a silly season hero this year.
Yeah, it's a little bit feast or famine for him right now. He's in a shooting dip, so that's taken his value out of the top 150 range over the last week. But I kind of think he's like a top 100 guy at this point. If he can't get more consistent, these swings will keep him in the 100 to 125 range. I think he'll get it right, and I think the team will prioritize his development. A lot of interesting stuff going on with Washington at the trade deadline. They might be a home for some bad contracts and try to get some draft picks out of things that way. And we'll see if that has any adverse effect on the Trey Johnsons of the world. But he keeps getting cited by Josh Robbins of The Athletic as one of their guys they want to develop, in addition to Bub Carrington and not Justin Champagnie, but I digress. I like Trey Johnson a lot because of the silly season factor. And I think you just target that top 100 valuation as you make your ad drop decisions and whatnot. I will take us to a guy in Brandon Pajemski who got super relevant after the Jimmy Butler ACL injury ending his season. Pajemski, independent of that, has been actually productive lately, producing in the top 70 to 80 range over the last couple weeks. He's had a nice fat run here over the last week, being an early round player in the last a week or so. And they're just going to need bodies to backfill space here. And I'm not 100% convinced that Pajemski is like a mid-round guy going forward. He could easily get into a slump and become a top 100 guy. We also have to figure out as we go here what Golden State's going to do over the next 2 weeks. They're going to probably have to trade for somebody to keep this window with Steph Curry open, or maybe they punt this season and look to next season and make one last run. But in the meantime, Brandon Pajemski is shaping up as a mid-round potential guy with a late-round floor, and that is worth also running to the wire and getting. Doc, let's shift gears. Let's talk about players who are struggling, potential buy lows, candidates to drop. Also, before we do that, one thing I want to get out of everybody who's watching and listening to the show is I want to get more questions. I want to get more interactions. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I want to get that picked up. So send those questions over to @Dr. A, DOCKTORA, @Aaron Bruski, or in the chat over at YouTube. Okay, Doc, let's figure out who is your first player in the Khalil Ware commemorative drop zone today.
Ironically, Brew, it's Khalil Ware.
Never guessed.
Khalil Ware, like, remember he'd play like 17 minutes and then 18 minutes, and then he bounced back with like 28 minutes. It's not happening now. The minutes, his last 6, 17, 16, 16, 9, 16, 18. Like, it's rough, dude. I still think you hang on to Khalil Ware. Shout out to Indiana University grad. I don't know if he's a graduate, but he played ball there. I still think you hang on to him until the trade deadline passes. And if the Heat don't make any moves, then maybe you let him go. But a side note, Tyler Hero is hurt again. He's got a rib injury. He's going to miss time. That means Davion Mitchell is going to step up, and maybe that opens a window for Khalil Ware to play a little more. But I'm still holding him through the trade deadline, even though it sucks and it hurts.
Yeah, it sucks. And it's been top 200, top 225. So that's pretty bad. Not bad considering he's playing like 8 minutes a game or something. Kidding a little bit there. But he's still a mid-round guy in the season, and he's doing it in a ridiculously low amount of minutes. And it just speaks to the overall value that he brings to the court. I think, what was it? 3 or 4 games ago, Doc, I said I wanted 5 bad games out of Khalil Ware. Well, we've got a couple games here, and I want this to actually keep going, just like maybe 1, 2, or 3
Dreams do come true, bro.
I'm telling you, somebody out there is going to make a ton of money on Khalil Ware when he hits the rock bottom, and then they buy for something crazy like a top 100 pick, and then he just jumps back into the top 20 or 30 as he was cruising there for a little bit earlier in the season. It's just a great combination of the points, the boards, the blocks, the threes, and doing it in low minutes and relatively easily when he's on the floor. But he needs to just work harder. You know, Spo's not a big fan of him not going out there and working 100% every single time he plays. So that battle will rage on. Jordan Poole, anybody want to talk Jordan Poole? I don't, but he's here in the drop zone because I finally dropped his ass in the one spot that I had him, and it felt so good. I don't have to worry about Jordan Poole at all for the rest of the season, Doc. I mean, he could have a good game, and I don't care because it's probably going to be followed up by a bad one. New Orleans, although they are trying to prioritize winning, I don't think they really want him on the floor, and they probably look at him as sort of a sunk cost at this point. At least that's the way they've been treating him on the floor. And then he continues to do stupid stuff. They were in a tight game, and he tried to throw an off-the-backboard pass to some guys trailing on a fast break the other day. It was classic Jordan Poole. And I just don't think it's going to happen for him this year. So we drop him and move on. And we move on, Doc. Who do you got next?
Oh, let me unmute myself. We've got a McDonald's order going down behind me from a bunch of...
I forgot to comment. There's a couple naked people walking around back there. And,
from a bunch of drunk...
And a couple McDonald's orders.
They're a nice combination. Everyone here is a nice combination of drunk / hungover. Like, they're sort of in that middle ground. They don't have to work today. They don't have
funky at the moment, but give it a couple hours and they're going to need a nap.
I've got Anthony Davis written down as my next drop zone target. I'm just not. You just screw Anthony Davis, Brew. I'm done. I don't want to wait. I don't know that the reward is going to be there at the end of the rainbow. Like, I'm just.
But I had one little epiphany thought, whatever, about Anthony Davis with the Jimmy Butler injury. Like, I don't know how the contracts line up, and I haven't deep dived this, but like that connection had been made, the Golden State one, at least kind of very, very much on the periphery. Like, I don't think anybody was like, oh yeah, the Golden State Warriors are definitely in on Anthony Davis. But if you're looking to try to kind of reset a timeline around Steph, and you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, right? Let's be real. Like, nobody's, the Warriors are screwed right now. Everybody's old and they don't have a lot of assets. And, you got Steph, and you can't exactly sit on it. So you bring in Anthony Davis. Jimmy Butler's money helps in the contract, and Anthony Davis's contract is a little bit painful. It's 2 more years after this, I believe, off the top of my head, at a big number, and he's going to suck 2 years. Like the next season, Anthony Davis is going to be really bad, and then the season after that, Anthony Davis is going to be really bad, at least in terms of the money that he makes and what his overall impact is. I don't think he can defend that much anymore. And I'm not consistent. Obviously, he can't stay healthy, but then offensively, he's kind of a mixed bag. If he plays like a number 3 guy to Steph, and you get to try this out this season, maybe Anthony Davis gets into that kind of a situation. He's super motivated to play. All right, that's the devil's advocate take on that. But really, you're getting 20 games out of Anthony Davis?
No, I'd put the over under at 10, and I think it's going to be under.
So he gets back in mid-March, and then they slowly ramp him up for the playoffs. That's the risk right there. There's not a lot of meat to the bone here. I dropped Anthony Davis in a lot of leagues, if not all of the leagues. I think in 3 leagues. I think he got dropped in all 3. I'd have to double check that. But I'm down with the drop. I'm also down with dropping Aaron Nesmith, unless you got more banging on Anthony Davis you want to do, Doc. Aaron Nesmith, the final straw is that there is a massive tanking effort going on in your favorite Indiana Pacers hood. They're just tanking like mad now. They rested the entire team the other day, and I think they're going to do this for the foreseeable future. So if you're with Aaron Nesmith and looking for late round value there, well, not only is it going to be hard for him to shoot the ball well this season because they're not that good, he's not going to get on the floor, I think, consistently enough to make the late round value or even the mid round upside pan out for folks. So I feel like you can move on. Doc, who else you got? Mr. Mute. How many McDonald's orders are you guys getting over there?
Yeah, it's just a lot of action going on here. There's a lot of movement. I'm like in a rental house with 10 people, and the kitchen is right next to me. The family room is right behind me. Like there's just action everywhere.
Look, if you want to start taking shots on air, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. So feel free. Go ahead.
Well, Jacob just grabbed his case of Busch Light and went outside with it. So I don't know what's going on there. The next guy on my list is Kristaps Porzingis.
Question mark?
Last time he played was January 7th, dude. It's January 20th right now. He's played 3 games in January. Guess how many he played in December, Brew?
0?
2. December 5th and December 31st. 2. November, he played like 7. Like, it's just a disaster, dude. You'll sleep better if you don't have to deal with Kristaps Porzingis. Like, sure, like I'd rather have Najee Marshall. I would literally drop him for Najee Marshall.
Yeah, I don't see him playing that much. That's although he's ramping up right now. There's going to be an evaluation that gets reported on it in probably about 5 days, if I had to guess. And maybe you get something out of Kristaps Porzingis, but Atlanta's season seems to be swirling the drain at least a tiny bit. They're a little bit of a wild card. You don't know what they're going to do, at the deadline. Maybe they try to lean into something and get a little bit of a rebound effect with their season, but it feels like they might be playing for future seasons, but we'll see how that goes. And Kristaps Porzingis, never a great bet to stay on his feet. I'll take Colin Murray-Boyles for my last drop zone guy, and it's not because he's not doing well right now. He's been in the ballpark of top 80. Now on the injury report as well. And basically, I just think that the Toronto Raptors are in the market for another big man. I don't think they're going to put Murray-Boyles in his rookie season into kind of a central role as they try to actually do something in the playoffs here. We're hearing them connected to a lot of win now discussion out there in the trade deadline market. They've talked about getting another big man. 20-minute per game big men like Goga Bitadze, Day'Ron Sharpe have been linked with them. And it feels like they're looking for somebody to fill the role of Jakob Poeltl's 20 minutes or 25 minutes if he could actually get up and going. So whether it's Poeltl or big man number 2, I think that Colin Murray-Boyles is going to be back into the 25-minute range, maybe even down to the 22-minute range when the games start to get grindy. And that has not been good for fantasy value for him. He's basically a top 150 guy or worse as the minutes start to get down to 25 or below. So this is the high point for Colin Murray-Boyles. You probably want to try to float some sort of an offer for people who are optimistic about that. I'm pessimistic, and we'll see how that all works out in the end. Doc, let's shift to streamers. Who is your top streamer for tonight's action?
I'm going to go, oh, shoot. Am I unmuted, Brew?
You are unmuted.
I am unmuted.
Everything you're saying is being transmitted to the world. Don't mess up.
Fantastic. I'm going to go with Jordan Miller of the Los Angeles Clippers, dude. He's had at least 35 FanDuel points in his last 3 games. Shout out FanDuel. I don't know exactly what that scoring system is, but let's just say 35 is good. And Jordan Miller has gotten 27 minutes or more in 6 straight games. Kawhi Leonard is still out. Like Jordan Miller, to me, started out as a deep pickup. Now he's like a standard league pickup. Like I love Jordan Miller right now.
Yeah, I mean the Kawhi stuff is its own spicy meatball on a day or weekend of spicy meatballs. Holy moly! So if Kawhi's out and Jordan Miller's got this level of momentum, and keep in mind a lot of his value comes from his field goal percentage, but he's also been picking it up across the board. If this could be his window theoretically. So I like the streaming action because of the absence, and then also the potential that he gets a couple more weeks and possibly a ramp for more. I don't want to get too optimistic with that, but that looks good to me. I'll take us to Jalen Smith, who I had to drop in one league to get Musa Cisse, and that's okay. I can live with that. But Musa Cisse, or probably Jalen Smith, I'm going to talk about Musa Cisse all day, guys. Jalen Smith is in control of Chicago's big man's position right now. He's getting about 30 minutes per game over the last week or so. So something, and by the way, Nikola Vucevic is alive and healthy and playing, 30 minutes a game during this. So something switched over there with Billy Donovan, and Jalen Smith has taken this ball and run with it. He's producing in the top 60 to 80 range, depending on your measurement, and things, of course, don't look as rosy as we look further and further back in time. The percentages are in a bad spot. He doesn't turn the ball over. That's helpful. His defensive numbers are a little bit up. And then the key thing for him is last year he shot 80% from the foul line on the season. If he can at least get one of the percentages columns good, it takes one out of like 3 or 4 bad categories and turns it into a winning category for him. So maybe the upside equation gets a little bit better. It's whether he's hurt or he's, not getting you the numbers that you need. These are the 2 things that have dragged him back and kept him from breaking out in the past. And can he handle more than 20 minutes per game? But he's getting the minutes right now. And we've talked about that upside in the past. So you might as well lean into that a little bit. Doc, who's next up for your streamers tonight?
2 of my favorite things are happening in Miami. Someone goes down and a replacement steps up and they're playing against their former team. Davion Mitchell's going against the Kings. We got the revenge factor worked in. Tyler Herro's going to miss time with his rib injury. Like Davion Mitchell's not going to set the world on fire. He's not going to win you a championship, but he's a solid streamer tonight.
Not to mention he's going to get a bunch of games here with the Miami Heat having 4 more games this week. And he's going to probably want to punish the Kings. And I would not want to be like Zach LaVine or somebody who has 0 wiggle with the ball, because Davion Mitchell's going to just lock you up and you're going to have an off night. I will take us to Quentin Grimes, who's been very, very slow lately. Philadelphia at full strength, but we're in that meaty part of the schedule. It's a little meaty now. When you get the All-Star break, it's get meaty after that. Quentin Grimes is just kind of cruising right now in the background. There could be possibly some trade stuff going on, but not sure. Haven't heard his name called too many in the rumor mill reports. And so Quentin Grimes has been a top 90 to 100 guy all season long. This recent dip has moved his numbers maybe to like 110 in certain formats, but like this is a top 100 guy, and he's just going to be that for the rest of the season, even if it's bad here for a couple weeks. There will be some injuries. Philadelphia will move him into a more prominent role as they did previously, and Quentin Grimes will be right back into that top 100 range, and you could get him for action tonight on the cheap. Doc, who do you got next?
Walter Clayton and Bryce Sensabaugh, the Utah Jazz duo. Bryce Sensabaugh missed his last game with an illness. He's questionable. I'm going to guess he plays. I mean, I've had a cough for a couple weeks, but I could go play basketball if I had to. So Sensabaugh, his last 3 games, dude, have just been off the hook. He had that monster game when he scored like 40-something points, and his FanDuel points the last 3 games are 56, 35, and 35. And then Walter Clayton, 5 of his last 6 games have been really pretty interesting. He does everything except block shots, and he's getting run. And I feel like Utah is starting to morph into silly season Utah mode.
Yeah, Walter Clayton's stat set's been definitely making itself known the last couple games here. And Sensabaugh's been going off. And so we'll see what happens. I haven't gotten a Laurie Markkinen update in a while in what they're trying to attempt to do in that pivot in Utah. It's tantalizing. And we'll definitely talk about Kyle Filipowski in future shows. But along with Clayton and Sensabaugh, Filipowski is certainly a part of that discussion as a stash and might be the best stash. But at least Walter Clayton right now is cooking, and so is Bryce Sensabaugh. I will move us over to DeAnthony Melton, who we haven't talked about much in light of the Jimmy Butler season-ending ACL injury. Melton returning from his own ACL, but he's been one of their constants, the guy that they like on the floor. He's getting to 25 minutes per game. He's getting to the late round value. I don't know if he can cruise higher than this, but it looks like he's even more locked in stone into the minutes that he's already been getting. And maybe if there is upside, we'll see. But right now you can get him as a streamer and lock yourself into a late round guy moving forward. And that's going to do it for this episode of Fantasy NBA Today. If you're listening on the pod feed, take 60 seconds and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us out. Thank you so much. I've seen a bunch of you guys doing that lately. So thanks again for that. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you never miss an episode. From Steve, Andre, and everybody here at Sports Ethos, we'll be right back with our daily fantasy deep dive, available exclusively on the Fantasy NBA Today pod feed and the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.
Who?